One of the biggest differences between manga art and anime art is how you close the line. And well, what do I mean by that? Well, if we zoom in on this panel I made, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You can see there's lots of openings and the brush thins out towards the end. Especially right here, you can see even in the eyebrows as well, the brush kind of splits in two, or I add white in certain areas to break it up. Now let's take that same illustration and let's trace it in anime style, and I'll explain the difference. First things first is I'm going to use an alias G pen. And for example, on areas where this hair is open, I'm going to close the line instead. Now, as this time lapse is playing, I'll explain what the goal is. As I mentioned earlier, of course, closing the lines, but keeping the lines consistent and smooth. Because in animation, everything has to move and, of course, be animated, it's important to keep the lines consistent, or else things are just very difficult to gauge and it's just hard to animate. And once you finish the color guide, of course, each color assigning a certain thing, like blue, for example, is shadows, red is highlights, you get the difference between a manga panel and an animation frame. So really the whole point of this is just to showcase that in anime style, you close the lines and keep them smooth and consistent because of the fact that it has to move. So if things are open or have a lot of scratchiness or wobbliness to them, it makes it very hard to animate it consistently. It also really helps with coloring because they color in cells. So for example, that's why you draw with an aliased line, because they just use fill bucket tools to swap the colors in. So that's why anime usually has consistent straight lines that are also closed.